What up, y'all? It's been a minute. Come on in. So we haven't done an apartment tour in a while. I want to show you around and show you some of the stuff I'm working on, some of my favorite little knickknacks and cameras. Come on. This is where I spend probably about 65% of my time. I edit videos here, I edit photos here, I develop film here occasionally, I do a ton of film scanning here, and I also live here. So let's just start off with what you guys are probably here to see is some of my cameras, and we'll go from there. This right here is my Husky drawer that just is filled with a bunch of film cameras. A lot of them are unfortunately broken, but the ones that I use frequently also reside in here. So we'll look at the top drawer first. It's been pared down recently. But yeah, some of the cool ones are this Fuji GA645, one of my favorite cameras that I've been using for the past couple of years, but unfortunately is broken. My Minolta TC1 is also a camera that is just an absolutely outstanding point and shoot, but it's broken. Anyway, this is a camera I'm borrowing from my friend Eric. It's called a Bayou N16 and it's got what appears to be 16 lenses on it. Could be a really cool camera to make some sort of art piece with, and I'm definitely gonna make a video on it soon, but I need to do some research on it. But anyway, we've got my grandfather's Leica with a TT Artisans 28-5.6 lens on there. I've got a little 28mm TT Artisans viewfinder on top. I made a whole video about this camera, but this camera pretty much is a very pared down Leica with no rangefinder elements in it. There's no focusing patch, so you have to zone focus, but it's a really beautiful camera and I need to replace the leather, but it's really cool to own a Leica even if it's not a camera I'm going to use all that often. We've got a Nishika N8000, a classic 3D camera. You guys have seen these on this channel a ton, I'm sure. And then just a Nikon F2, classic 35mm SLR. You really can't go wrong with that guy. What else do we have in here? We've got this guy. Kex recently sent me this flash. It's a really nicely designed and made flash. It looks a lot like the TLA 140 by Contax, and it has this really cool, almost teenage engineering looking design and layout on the back here. And I'm pretty excited to give this thing a go, but everybody seems to really like this thing. Seems to be pretty promising. So we'll have to see about that. Got a little in the box long weekend camera that my friend behind the camera gave me. I need to get that signed, I'm not gonna lie, by you and Allison Goats. Okay. Well, that's drawer one. There's only 2 broken cameras in there, so that was kind of a lot better than I thought it was gonna be. The second drawer is not nearly as fun. I think everybody has at least 2 of these drawers in their house. This is my miscellaneous tech drawer. You know, you've got a ton of cords, like spare parts, batteries. There's like a stack of Polaroids back here. There's a Polaroid lab, you know, just a bunch of stuff. Not really all that exciting, but then this is like my medium format or like work camera drawer. So you've got the Mamiya RB67. This is like the last one they ever made in like the late 90s. My main Pentax 6x7 in great condition. That's actually such a lie. It's actually so clapped. Excellent camera as well. My spare Pentax 6.7 body. A bunch of cool lenses. And then I have this guy, which is like a Bronica S2A that I bought a couple years ago. It's got some sort of focusing problem, but I bought it to use this really cool tilt shift bellows with to try to make some like tilt shift portraits in the studio. So maybe I'll get that thing CLA'd and try it out. So those are some of the medium format cameras. And then, well, that's an Epson V550. We don't really talk about that down here. Next up, my desk. This is where I edit all of my videos, all of my photos, answer emails. Everybody knows what they do at a computer desk. You don't need me to explain that. I've had this exact setup for the entire time I've lived here. I have a nice little LG ultrafine monitor, which is like calibrated to work with my Mac so I can edit my photos properly. I've got a ton of Polaroids here on the right. This right here is one of my prized possessions. This is a photo of me and Andre 3000 at Camp Flognaw. I walked up to him in the artist area. I was there. I had just done visuals for Orion Sun's show. First time doing stage visuals, by the way. And I walked up to Andre. I was like, hey man, I'd love to get a portrait of you. It was actually, I shot it on this camera, or I didn't shoot anything actually. I was like, can I shoot a Polaroid of you? He was like, no, but you can get one with me. And you know, guys, I'm not really like starstruck like that. I just wanted to take a Polaroid of him. I took the photo with him. I handed his assistant my camera, and this is what came out. I don't know how this possibly happened, but that's what you get for bothering the goat, I guess. But yeah, also my Polaroid i2 sits on the desk with me all the time when I'm not using it. A bunch of hard drives and a bottom-mounted Xbox Series S. I play more video games than you'd expect. Well, actually, I don't know what your expectations are for me playing video games, but I play some video games. Why don't you join me over here? We've got I think this is probably from what, 2012? PlayStation Vita. Really cool little handheld that looks like it could have been made literally this year, and it's jailbroken and has a ton of games on it, but a really cool device. It's like this sort of like grayish green color, and I think this only ever released in Japan, but I play some games on this here and there. This is something I'm working on a video on right now. I'm not sure if you guys know about this guy. If you don't, this is the best Polaroid ever made, the Polaroid SX70 sonar. This camera has autofocus, it's unbelievably fast, it has an incredibly sharp lens, and it folds down into this beautiful design. You can put a flash on top. It's exceptional, and I'm working on a video right now about these cameras. I'm actually waiting for 2 of my SX70s to come back from Brooklyn Film Camera, where I'm getting them serviced and converted to Polaroid 600 film, so look out for that video. I'm like unbelievably stoked to dive into that.
Is that the one I dropped?
This is the one that Willem dropped square on the face, and you see where this is all busted right here? He had nothing to do with that. That was me beforehand. Let's see, what else? Oh, yeah, this guy's been joining me on my desk too. This is my Contax G1, not a G2. I don't have G2 money by any means. And then a TLA 200. And then a TLA 200 flash on top, which is like kind of like the Contax G2 flash, but it looks a lot cooler. This flash is kind of like the clout flash. Like if you had the TLA 140, it wouldn't like, it wouldn't be as cool. You wouldn't be as sick. I wouldn't hang out with a TLA 140 user, you know what I'm saying? I'm just kidding. We can keep hanging out, Willem. Yeah, this camera, I got it a couple weeks ago after I went on a road trip with Willem, Jimmy, and our friends Jake and Hector. Jimmy uses a G1. He's been using one for years. His work is exceptional. I had a G1 before and I didn't like it, and he kind of convinced me to get a new one just by seeing him shoot with it. So I've put like 8 rolls through it in the last 2 weeks, and every single shot has been unbelievably sharp, in focus, blah, blah, blah. New video on that coming up soon, I'm sure. That's my desk. There's not much more to say. I mean, I guess it's kind of beast that it like stands on command, and over here on the right I have a Canon Scopic, which I also made a video on. I'm hoping to dive more into shooting with this thing as soon as, I don't know, maybe a couple more monetization dollars come in so I can afford to shoot 16 frequently. But
you're the only person who's ever talked about a standing desk and it's not sponsored.
Yeah, no sponsorship. I bought these standing desk legs off of Amazon, and this is like a wood countertop table, and I just like used a screwdriver to attach them to each other. If you want to buy either of those items, I will include affiliate links down below. On to more exciting things. I made a video about this, and I'm actually making a new one coming up soon where I upgrade this scanner quite a bit. I'm really excited about it actually. But this is my Fuji Frontier. I have it from when I ran a film lab during the pandemic. It's pretty much one of the best scanners you can use to scan color negative, black and white film, slide film, yada yada. It's incredible. The colors are unbelievable, and it's just like a very interesting piece of tech. I've got it powered on today because I'm gonna go help a film lab here in LA that just opened called Art House Film Lab set up their Frontier. So I'm just gonna kind of write down all of the custom settings I've implemented, but I'm also about to scan some photos I did from a recent press shoot for a DJ, and I also have a personal project I've been working on that I'll show you in here real quick. So this is a light table that I typically just kind of throw all of my negatives on that I'm about to scan. I've been working on a double exposure project, like all black and white film. And these are 2 of my like test rolls that I did. I'm kind of interested in experimenting with black and white double exposures as like the sole topic of a photo book. And so I've been playing around with a bunch of different double exposure techniques, and one that I hadn't really seen practiced or talked about online was like making your own designs on paper and then using the paper as one of the 2 exposures. So I was kind of just messing around with a bunch of different designs and double exposing onto them. And you can see on the negative that some of them worked out better than others. It's a very interesting concept, and I'm definitely excited to try out like more iterations of it, but kind of cool to see those out. I can't give you a release date on any form of photo book, but know that I'm actively thinking about it and considering the options. I feel like I could probably, you know, put out a photo book of all of my like work that I've already made, but that doesn't really like really excite me all that much. It's hard to think about all of the photos you've made and not think of them as like, I can do better. You know what I mean? Like, I love all of the work that I've put out, and I go back and reflect on my work all the time. And it's also hard to like decide what to put in a book after you shot it like 3 or 4 years ago, when you feel like maybe you've progressed, you know, as an artist. You know what I mean. You totally know what I mean. Anyway, this is a closet. There's not a ton of exciting stuff in here, so let's move on. I don't know how much I've talked about the decor in my apartment, but I am a huge fan of like mid-century design, space age era design, retrofuturism, all that. So that's why you'll see things sprinkled around like this Panasonic radio or this device called an Aquatron or that record player over there. Honestly, that era of design kind of was my biggest inspiration for making photos in the color and shapes and ways that I like to. So I kind of just like surrounded myself with the coolest stuff that I could find that like inspires me and I enjoy looking at, and that's why there's all this stuff around. Now, onto the kitchen. This is my dining room table. I eat meals here. Cute little tulip table. That's really all that needs to be said about it. In my kitchen, I not only cook here, but I also develop film on occasion. I don't really develop nearly as much film at home anymore just because of the risks that come with user error. A lot of times, especially for like big jobs and stuff, I'm dropping that off at the lab. I cannot risk being the person that messes that up. I've got a ton of, you know, different Jobo tanks. I've got a cyanotype kit that I've been wanting to try out, a ton of black and white chemistry, a bunch of like cool little film canisters that I kept after developing them either at my lab or things that I like had and shot. Like this Mitsubishi film is like hilarious, and actually the photos that I shot on it came out great. Like it was great films for some reason. Rite Aid film, okay, and some Polaroid C41 film, amongst others. But honestly, the coolest thing in here is probably these cameras up here. You guys have seen these on the internet, I'm sure. This is a Polaroid Big Shot. It takes flash cubes and peel apart pack film. It is absolutely such an awkwardly shaped camera, and it makes one single focal length photo. It just takes a portrait from like your collarbone to right above your head. That's the only focal length and framing you can do. And it's a lot of fun, but the film is like 150, 200 bucks a pack for 10 photos that aren't even guaranteed to work. So this is very soon going to be a relic in the past. I have 2 shots left in here. You know, I'm not going to buy more packs anytime soon, I don't think. Unless somebody wants to hire me for a job that requires this film, it's going to be sitting on ice up there. And I've got 2 of them because you can't carry these plastic cameras around without having 2 because they break so easily. And then I have a 3rd one that's literally taped together. The insides are completely shattered, but I have it just in case I need a part off of it or something. And then this camera here is another peel apart camera. This is a Mamiya Universal, and it's got incredible, like an incredible lens, a fully like manual set of mechanical controls. There's no battery. This is the camera you want to shoot peel apart pack film on. It's just incredible. And I've shot 3 packs in this camera of FP3000B, which is a 3000 speed peel apart film. Actually, you know what? I'll show you some of these Polaroids in a second. Got a couple Polaroids of the homies up here. If you look up, we've got a bunch of film boxes. These all have sleeved negatives in them that haven't been archived into like flat sheets. Down here, we have the same problem. There's a bunch of negatives. You know, I'm working on archiving all of them. It's just taking me quite a while. I'll show you my biggest shame ever. This pile of negatives here. A lot of them are sleeved and ready to be like, you know, sleeved into a flat sheet, but some of them are literally covered in dust with no sleeve, all messed up in a cardboard box. That's really early film photography stuff. None of the stuff that I've done like, you know, for a job or anything that I really think is like important stuff is in that condition. But luckily, I've sleeved a lot of the stuff that wasn't cared for very well. And sometimes just a good wash and hang, or just like microfiber cloth, getting rid of all the dust and everything, they're actually like not nearly as damaged or scratched as you might imagine. I think that modern day film emulsions are way tougher than people like to let on, which is good. You should think that they're really sensitive so that you don't treat them poorly. But anyway, let's take a look at some Polaroids. We were talking about peel apart film in there, and last year I filled up 3 of these binders, not with peel apart film, but with I guess 3 formats of instant film: peel apart, Polaroid 600 or I-type, and Instax film. So I guess, let's see, what should we look at first? I just want to show you some of my favorites. Let's look at the peel apart first. You might have seen my video on it, but I did a ton of peel apart film at Dreamville Fest in Raleigh, North Carolina. So I got to just shoot one single portrait of some of these artists and then hope that I got something good. We've got Tizo Touchdown, Lil Yachty, Key Glock, Ray Shremmerd. We got a whole page of black and white. This is FP100B, which most people honestly don't seem to know much about. It's a black and white 100 speed pack film that actually works in the big shot. Turned out really cool. It's got these really interesting sort of aberrations that came from the expiration. Damn, rap career on the way. But then we're back to some color film. We got Bia, Central C, Boss, Jeremiah, Mez. Pretty cool. Really fun assignment. And I also shot some peel apart film for the LA Times. This was Seth Rogen when we did a piece about his ashtray collection, and it was really cool. This is like a great example here. You can see how dark this is of some film that's really started to expire. It also helps when you're shooting this film to be on like some sort of illuminated backdrop. Like here you can see her whole outline because she was on white, and Central C was just, I think I just like ran into him backstage. But here you can just see the actual brightness of the actual like photos is really, really low because of the expiration. And then this here I shot these last week. These photos are really expired because they were just left in the camera and I just like was waiting to shoot them. So you can see the color shift, like very yellow compared to some of the fresh stuff, like a huge difference in the color, you know? This is just starting to yellow. It's just like a couple months inside of a camera, not cold stored. They just start to go bad really fast. These are some of the photos I shot on that Mamiya Universal. So you get to use completely manual shutter speeds. This lens is also quite wide. And so I was able to use it with a projector to make this really cool spinal shape going up her back. And this film is really cool because you actually get to peel it after 15 seconds instead of like 60 to 90 seconds. I do think that this photo is absolutely the best one, but what a fun shoot. This is a cool little page. This is Marshmallow and that's Matt Berry from What We Do in the Shadows. Both very, very sweet individuals. So this is just like a continuation of some of the Polaroid stuff. That's Carol Burnett for the LA Times as well. I want to say she's 91, 92 when I shot these. So this is some more 3000B I shot with my friend Valentina, and I love this photo. This is probably my favorite one. It's just so sharp and like simple. It's got those sort of expiration things on either side of her head. It feels very symmetrical and cool. I also tried doing some double exposure-y stuff, and it didn't turn out half bad. There's another one there. I wanted to backtrack to these pages. These photos here are shot on the SX70 Sonar. It has this unbelievable ability to focus really close, and that's something that most Polaroids can't do. It's also just so sharp. You can see every single piece of hair on my face. So I'm really excited to make a whole video about that camera. It's just super neat. Now that we're done with peel apart, I want to show you guys just a couple frames of Instax film. Pretty much this is Instax film that was shot in my Mamiya RB67 with the Frankenstax back. This format of Instax film is actually 800 speed. So if you have 800 speed medium format film in your medium format back, you can like do a complete test shot of a double exposure, eject it, see how it looks, and then just shoot it on medium format film. And it's like the same speed, same settings. It's perfect. I've been able to experiment a ton with that. You can see like kind of going through like an idea. I like tried it here and it didn't make any sense, and then I tried it here and you can start to see a silhouette, and then I tried it again and now you really see a full silhouette, and it worked out nice. Just really cool. I don't know, it's really fun to experiment with it when you can see it in the moment. Yeah, here's another cool example of me like trying out an idea. I started here and I have an obsession with not having like light bleed over different shadows and stuff. And then this one here, like you can see where the end of the cyc wall is. And then this one here was just like maybe a little too dark or maybe too close, and then that was the final one. And paired with the medium format shot, which I'm showing on screen right now, I'm sure, it's just a really cool way to kind of look at images that you've taken time to really meticulously make. So yeah, I have all three of these binders filled up, but I plan on filling up more of them for sure. This is definitely one of the most fun parts of like my journey as a photographer, is getting really into instant stuff. I wasn't really into it prior to last year, but then I spent all of last year just shooting, like overshooting instant film. And I definitely am like doing more of that this year, but with completely different cameras. So stay tuned for some upcoming videos because I've got a lot to yap about. And last but not least, this is where I shoot all of like the A-roll in my YouTube videos. I just have this one light pointing at my white wall. It's just the perfect amount of light for like a nice bounce and diffusion. And I usually just sit in this chair. I scoot it over to here. I just move my table over a little bit. I sit here like this, and then I say something like, let's talk about film cameras. Anyway, guys, that is my apartment. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you have any thoughts or concerns in the comments. Peace out.